guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here for my monthly wrap-up and I'm looking at my pile and I feel like it's a little bit smaller number-wise than usual, but bigger size-wise than usual, if that makes sense. I also wanted to apologize up front for this being a little bit late. This is why it's a little bit late. I wanted my face to heal just a little bit more before I put it in front of you guys. As you can tell, I'm burnt. I learned a very valuable lesson. When you substitute for a PE teacher at a middle school, always bring sunscreen, even if you're supposed to play floor hockey inside the gym, because you never know when the AC is going to go out and it's going to be boiling hot in the gym and you need to take the kids outside. We played soccer and it was about one class in when I realized, oh no, I don't have sunscreen. This is going to hurt. So yeah, that's what this is. And that happened 2 days ago. So I wanted to give myself just a little bit of extra time to heal before you guys had to see me like this. So this month I read 6 books and I pretty much loved everything I read. So we're looking at like a almost completely 5-star pile. There's 1 4-star in the mix, but that's it. Because we're talking, I have 2 books from 2 series that I absolutely adore and then 2 extra books on top of that. So I read 6 books so far this month. Only 2 of them were audiobooks and the other 4 were physical books. So my 2 audiobooks were Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix. I listen to these every night before I go to sleep. And some months I get through more and some months I get through less. I read 2 big fat books, which means that my sleeping wasn't amazing because I made it through 2 of these. And I didn't have another audiobook that I was really listening to because I was really into the books that I was actually physically reading. So I listened to these ones when I was driving or doing other things. But yeah, I made it through both of them. This is one of my least favorite books of the series. My least favorite is actually The Chamber of Secrets. But this is one of my least favorites too. This one, Umbridge is in this one, that's all I have to say. Umbridge is just a terror. But I am on to one of my favorites right now. So I am reading, listening to The Half-Blood Prince at the moment. But I still love them. They're still 5 stars. So even the worst book in this series is still amazing. There's 7 of them. And of course you have to read them against each other. So yeah, I got these ones done this month. And then the other 2 books that were in a series, which is why this is why I didn't read a ton, because I finished Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash. This one I read most of this month. I did start it last month. This one I read in its entirety this month. And I love them so much. So I was just starting this one and my husband comes up to me and goes, you know, I've been thinking I want to read. And I would love it if you pick me out a book. I'm in the middle of this one. Well, I'm at the beginning of this one. And I love this series. I love Sarah J. Maas, but I'm like, okay, Sarah J. Maas has 2 series, both of which I read all of this year because I am Sarah J. Maas trash. And I started reading Sarah J. Maas this year and I finished every book she has ever written except Catwoman. I have not read that one yet and I kind of low-key want to read that before the end of the year, but I don't own it, so it makes it harder. Not impossible, but harder. So he asked what I should pick him out, and so I figured that the ACOTAR series might be a little bit too sexy for him. So I decided that I was going to give him the first book in the series, Throne of Glass, and he loved it. He actually blew through the first 2 books and is halfway through the 3rd one right now. So I am super excited that not only did I finish the series this month, but I also have my lovely husband reading it with me. And he keeps talking about characters that I can't remember. But yeah, they were amazing. I love them so much. If you want any more information on them, just let me know. The short end is Throne of Glass is about an assassin who was imprisoned in a salt mine, and a prince of this kingdom came and let her out to be the king's champions, and the story morphs from there. And by the time you get here, you can barely remember how it started. But yeah, there's those. Now the two non-series books I read, one is actually part of, I don't know how to even go about this one. Okay, so the first one I read was My Lady Jane. This was a Chris Chooses My TBR pick, and I am really excited to be able to have gotten to it. I laughed the entire time I was reading this. I am going to have a reaction video of me reading this in an upcoming video, probably like a week or so from now. And because I'm almost done. I just finished the third book that I was reading for her, so I need to read one more and then I'll get it up. So I'm probably going to be about 2 weeks before I have it up. And I go into more detail about this, but My Lady Jane is about Lady Jane Grey, who was the 9 Days queen. She was queen in between the Tudors. So you have Henry Tudor, Henry VIII, the one that had all the wives and kept beheading them or divorcing them or whatever to them. He was a terrible husband. And then his son Edward was king after he passed. Edward was a sickly child and died at a very young age, and he was Protestant, and his sister Mary was Catholic, and they were worried about what was going to happen when Mary took over. So Edward decided to make his cousin Jane Grey queen instead. She was only queen for 9 days, and then Mary did an uprising and retook her throne. So it goes Tudor, Tudor, Jane, Tudor. And this is like a comical history retelling of this story, and it has to do with, instead of it being a religious thing, it's about animals. So you have those people who have animal magic, they can turn into animals, and those who don't. Jane is married off to Edward's president. I don't know how, I can't remember exactly the titles. His name was Dudley. And they married Jane off to Dudley's son. And in the book, Dudley's son is a horse because he has the animal magic, and they make her queen. It's hilariously funny, and it is kind of serious. It made me really curious about looking at the history of Lady Jane Grey, and so I read all the little short histories of Jane Grey. I also read the short histories of Dudley and the son that married Jane Grey, and a little bit of stuff on Mary, who ends up being Bloody Mary, which I thought was really interesting. If you can hear my kids talking, I'm sorry. I have my mic on, and so hopefully you won't get too much of it because it's background noise. But yeah, they're loud and obnoxious and playing video games and talking to their friends. But yeah, loved it, loved it, loved it. I do have the next Jane book, and it's about Jane Austen, but I haven't read it yet. But now that I've read this, I really want to read that one because this one was hilarious. I just don't know anything about Jane Austen either. And then the last book that I read was Nora Roberts' Island of Glass. It is the third book in her, what's the trilogy? The Guardians trilogy. So the basics is there is these 3 goddesses who have a newborn queen, and they want to give gifts to the newborn queen. And so they each make a star. One's fire, one's ice, and one's water. Oh my gosh, my brain, sorry. It's been, I read the first couple a while ago, so this one was about the ice one. But so what happens is that this evil goddess comes and curses the wishes, the stars that these goddesses made for the queen. If this is making any sense, I hope it is. And makes them fall. And so the goddesses put a protection around the stars so that only the guardians can find the stars and then return them to the Island of Glass. So this is the third and final installment of this trilogy. And this story always kind of reminded me of Sleeping Beauty and Aurora. So you have the baby queen which would have been Aurora. And then you have Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, who are giving her gifts. And then you have Maleficent, who's mad because she wasn't invited and she's evil. So she spins the gifts and makes them bad. But it kind of gives me those vibes. And so I really, really enjoyed this. And I'm looking forward to reading more of Nora Roberts' books. So yeah, that's the 6 books that I read this month. I'm sorry that my light is terrible and that my face is red. But I wanted to get this up for you guys really quick. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys read this month. I am at 99 books so far this year. My goal was 75, but I want to hit 100. So I have one more left to go. So let me know what you guys are reading and if there's anything that you guys would recommend as my 100th book. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.